What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and welcome to Halloween week here at Comics Explained. Now, for those of you guys who are new, Halloween is the time of year whereby we transition our stories. We try to stay within the confines of our normal schedule, but we transition to stories that deal a lot with the spooky element, of Halloween, that deal with zombies, monsters, different things like that. And last year, when I had run over this, there were some interesting stories that I did, like Jesus Hates Zombies, but there was also more traditional stories that I did, like Marvel Zombies and things like that. And so as I was going through, or as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, initially I wanted to do the long Halloween. The problem is that it's 13 issues long, it's massive in size, and so that's not really something that I could do with any real measure of quality over the course of like a day. And so that'll probably be something that I have to do next year. But I wanted to delve into the realm of Spawn. Now, I've done Spawn before. I think I did a little Spawn Explained video. It was a one-shot, I guess like a one-off, and I never really got back into it again. But when I was going through and I was looking at Spawn, I was faced with a dilemma. Do I want to go through and rehash the first 6 issues again, which I've already done and which so many people are familiar with, or did I want to try something different? And so what I did is I went out and I grabbed Spawn the Undead. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Spawn the Undead is a 9-issue limited series, but each issue is a one-shot, and so it tells its own self-contained story. Not only that, it gives us a depiction of Al Simmons within the realm of Image Comics as Spawn and shows us where he stands. Now, we'll get a little more into where he stands with regards to the story as we progress through it, because this is one of the cool things. But this story initially opens up with a guy by the name of Travis Ward. Now, Travis Ward seems to be in a very panicky situation. That's one of the things that I like about Paul Jenkins' writing here, is he provides us with a sense of dread, a sense of foreboding. Things are moving really fast. You can almost hear Travis Ward panting as he runs, so on and so forth. But he takes up refuge in a Chinese restaurant called Long Duck Dongs. And what we learn is that he's actually meeting with a woman named Sheila. Now, it seems, at least from what she's saying, the two of them had not talked for quite some time. And in fact, Paul Jenkins gives us a little bit of a backstory here, especially with regards to Travis himself. What we learn is that with his arrival in talking with Sheila, that the first thing he does is he looks at her hands. He says, "I want to see your hands." Now, we won't find out why until the end of the story, but Sheila is trying to figure out what's going on with Travis. For her, Travis is a longtime friend. He seems very panicky, very jittery, and Travis, of course, says, "I'm in trouble." And what he tells us is that when Travis was younger, when he was in his college years, that instead of being a typical student that went through and studied for whatever major he was going in, that he ended up falling into the realm of the occult. Now, with regards to the Spawn comics, and this is something that I really want to get into here, religion does not exist exactly in the same context that we're used to. The characters of Satan and God are very much real. Now, we didn't really know that Satan was Satan with regards to the Spawn comics. All we really knew was that there was a guy named Malboja, and that seemed to be the head honcho running everything in hell. It wasn't until later on that we actually learned Satan was an actual entity. Not only that, God and Satan are not the absolute rulers of existence, so to speak. In traditional religions, and even among Catholicism, Christianity, there's subgroups that differ in their own varying beliefs, but the common theme, or at least the core theme, seems to be that, it's somewhere along the line, God was just there, God made all things in existence, you had heaven, so on and so forth, you had angels, and Satan rebelled against God out of pride. Satan was cast out, some angels went with him, and the war between the two of them stretched to earth over men's souls. That's more or less the gist behind it. With regards to Spawn, it's not that way. Yes, those two still exist, but the conflict between God and Satan is really more akin to sibling rivalry. And what I mean here is that within the Spawn comics, there is a character or an individual called the Mother of Existence. It's neither male nor female, but it appears as both depending on who it is that it's talking to. But the Mother of Existence effectively is the creator behind all things. So the Mother of Existence really plays the role of, the prime mover or something like that in the Spawn universe. But God and Satan are only two of a pantheon of beings that exist that were created by the Mother of Existence. The issue is that much like almost any sibling, the two of them began fighting with one another. They began bickering back and forth. Ultimately, it led to an all-out war between the two of them. This war led to Earth itself, whereby God created men and then Satan gave man free will. And so in order to bolster their own sides, they both have lieutenants, they both have their own soldiers and so on and so forth, but Satan wanted to bolster his army further. And so what Satan did is Satan created what are called Hellspawn, which is exactly what Spawn is. And these Hellspawn serve the purpose of traveling to Earth and tracking individuals who have made deals with the devil and then taking those individuals back to hell in order to serve as part of Satan's army. Now, with regards to Travis Ward himself, the issue that he faced, or the limit that he faced, is that for the individuals that he associated with as part of the occult, for them it was just a passing thing. It was just a phase in college, right? Because in college, that's just how it is. And I mean, not everybody practices the occult, but in college, you just find a myriad of different things. That's what it's for. College is a place where you go and you literally figure out who you are. You join different things. Someone who was the high school football star, may turn around and become part of the chess club in college. It's people just figuring out what their life is, what direction they're going in, and who they are on a fundamental level. While a lot of those individuals who were part of the occult alongside Travis went on to do other things, the issue was that while Sheila did this, Travis did not. Travis did not let the occult go, because for him, he wanted to see how far down the rabbit hole he could go. He wanted to see how deep it went. And the result was that he ended up summoning a demon. Now, with regards to the Spawn comics, the demons of hell seem almost identical to Inferno as it was written by Dante Alighieri. Now, for those of you guys who are not familiar with the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, what happened here is he was a guy who claimed that he had been taken on a journey through hell and then purgatory and then finally heaven. And as he depicted hell, you had 9 circles. At the top, the first circle of hell was your average sinners, the ones who just sinned against God. At the bottom, in the 9th circle, were those who were treacherous. Explicitly, I guess Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus, a couple other people, both of whom, or I guess all of whom, were forced to reside alongside Satan himself. And so, with regards to this story, it seems as though we're seeing the exact same thing, in the sense that this demon named Hakeldama that was summoned by Travis was of the 3rd circle of hell. And what had happened here is Travis wanted to know everything he could, or learn everything he could with regards to hell itself, as well as effectively how to be immortal. And so what Travis did is he struck a pact. Travis said that he would sell his soul to this demon for everything the demon knows. And so when the deal was struck, when the pact was made, Travis said, I want to know how to escape damnation. And so this was basically creating a scenario whereby a pact was struck, and then Travis was given information on how to escape that pact. Now, what this demon does is it basically refreshes us on the character of Spawn. Again, more or less talking about hell spawn, different things like that, talking about how those things function, talking about the rivalry between God and Satan, so on and so forth. But more so than that, it tells us that when a hell spawn goes to take someone whose soul is going to be claimed by a demon due to the pact that they struck, that there seems to be no escape. Under normal circumstances, there's no escape. The only way for Travis to avoid going to hell is to figure out where it is that his gate to hell is going to be, and then avoid going there. Now, what we'll learn at the end of this is that these gates take many forms, but for the sake of this discussion, this segment of the discussion right now, it almost seems impossible to know this. But what Travis is also told is that there will be something called an Usher, and this Usher will effectively be this hellspawn. And Travis tells this to Sheila, right? He tells her that according to all the reading that he's done, according to all the studies that he's done, that these Ushers are basically hellspawn. Now, he doesn't really know about Spawn himself in terms of Al Simmons. Travis Ward is just looking at all this from someone that has no real clue of what's going on with regards to the bigger picture. For him, it's really just armchair philosophy. There's no real actual involvement here. He's just going by stuff that he's read somewhere. And so for him, he says there are Ushers. These Ushers are basically hellspawn. When a person strikes a deal with a demon or the devil themselves, when the time comes for their soul to be claimed, these Ushers go and find those people and bring them back. And that's why I say that Spawn is different, because Spawn, when he was created, when Al Simmons became Spawn, when the deal was struck that he would be able to return to death, or return to Earth after his death, he was supposed to serve this purpose. That's the entire basis behind Spawn. Within the first 6 issues, that's what you learn, that he was supposed to be a hellspawn. He was supposed to take the souls of the damned back to hell so they would become part of Satan's army, but then he went rogue and chose not to, which is where the Violator came in, and the Violator was designed for the purpose of basically forcing Spawn to either follow the instructions of Malboja, or exhaust all his power and be forced to return to hell anyway. And so for Travis Ward, he's basically explaining all this stuff to Sheila, and Sheila says, look, this is absolute insanity. What you're talking about here is completely complete and total nonsense. Not only that, she doesn't believe it. She doesn't believe any of it. And when she says, what evidence do you have to make this claim that there's a hellspawn out there, Travis not only produces a document to her with regards to a painting that was drawn, but he starts talking about how he saw his hellspawn. Now, this hellspawn is Spawn. It is Al Simmons. But for him, he says that everywhere he went, after his time had basically come, everywhere he went, everywhere he traveled to, every step he took, in the shadows was Spawn waiting for him, waiting to claim his soul and send it to hell. And so what happens is Travis goes back to this demon, goes back and basically says, look, like this hellspawn is coming for me. It's not my time yet. How do I avoid this hellspawn? How do I avoid the gate of hell that I'm supposed to go to? And again, this demon says, there's no way for you to know. There's no way you could possibly know what this gate is going to be. You know, you could very well be swept up in it and have no clue it's happening until suddenly you arrive in hell. And so, you know, the question that Travis has is, okay, then fine, then is there a way for me to locate this gate? And this demon says no. The demon itself doesn't know what the gate is. The only person who knows where this gate to hell is Spawn himself. And so this is the situation that Travis explains. He basically says, hey, look, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if somebody can help me. I don't know if there's anything you can do, you know, but before he really even gets into an explanation of why it was that he called Sheila here, she ultimately decides to stop listening and says, hey, look, like I can't follow this anymore. I can't listen to this anymore. Like, I don't know if it's drugs. I don't know if it's alcohol, but you got to go relax. You got to take a cab home, just go home, sleep on it, and everything will be fine. And so what happens is, you know, he gets in the cab and begins his journey, and we find out that Sheila was actually Spawn the entire time. Not only that, when Travis, you know, when Sheila had asked the question, well, what makes you think that, you know, what keeps you from believing that I'm Spawn, you know, that I'm a hellspawn? If all this is true, what keeps you from believing that I would be the one that would just sweep you up? And, you know, Travis says, well, I checked your hands. And this is where things begin to come into play, because what Travis had told Sheila was that whenever hellspawns appeared, they always appeared immersed in red and black. Sheila was an African American, but she also wore a red cloak. And that's how we knew, or at least suspected, that Sheila was Spawn. Now, some of you guys may have picked that up already. Some of you guys may have already guessed the ending. Of course, Sheila was Spawn. But the fact remains here that the cab itself is the gate to hell. The cab is going to take Travis Ward directly to hell. That in truth, there was no way for him to know that this was going to be the case, but it shows us how this works. It shows us that some people are just taken directly to hell, and they have no idea that it's actually going to happen. It's just one of these weird things. But if you guys enjoy this, because I'm kind of I mean, I really like this. It's a little unsettling, to be honest. It kind of, you know, makes you adjust in your seat a little bit, like, this is weird, you know, but it's also a really, really good story, and I really enjoyed it. But if you guys want to see some more of these one-shots, drop a like. If you guys want to see some more of this stuff, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps if you're new to Comics Explained, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought about Spawn the Undead, because I think it's pretty solid. Again, these are all just one-shot stories. They're self-contained stories. So with that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end, and yeah. I will catch you all later. Peace.